Hello everybody, and welcome to Theology 101. Today I will be answering a subscriber's question. Luis Nazareno asked this question. Hi, can you make a video of how angels really look like? Then another subscriber, Jacob Salas, asked this question. Do you know if demons look like angels? Does the Bible specify that they look different? Thank you too for asking these questions. Based on these questions, I want to dig deeper into the topic of angels and demons. Now, I know in popular culture, angels appear as babies or like Cupid, but this picture came about from the Greek god Cupid, who later became popularized during the Renaissance period. However, angels do not look like Cupid or cute babies according to the Bible. Instead, angels are spiritual beings who can take on different forms. At times, they can appear as humans, to the point where we may not even recognize that we served an angel. Other times we get some weird descriptions of angels, like when Ezekiel tries to describe them as creatures with 4 faces. So the short answer is that we don't have a clear description for angels. However, the Bible does seem to say that there are different types of angels. Did you know that? The first type of angel is a cherub. We see God place cherubim to guard the east side of Eden. Later in the book of Ezekiel, the prophet's vision depicts cherubim as having 4 faces, that of a lion, an ox, an eagle, and a human. They have straight legs, 4 wings. One set of wings covers their body, and the other is used for flight. This description is far from how we imagine Cupid, right? So what do these weird images mean? There have been historians who note that the cherubs' function of guarding sacred places and their mixed appearance is like the Babylonian and Egyptian descriptions of angels. Some skeptics argue that the Old Testament borrows these images from these cultures. However, that is based on a false assumption that correlation equates to causation. In other words, just because 2 things are similar does not mean that one causes the other. It is very possible, if not likely, that the Old Testament writers reflected thinking of their time concerning angels. The second type of angels is called Malakim. This is the Hebrew word for messenger. The English word angel comes from the Greek word angelos, which comes from this Hebrew word Malakim. Now, the Malakim are messengers of God and are angels that appear to be human. Their primary function is to be the ones who deliver God's message to his people. We see a famous example of this with the angel Gabriel. Gabriel was the angel who brought a message to Mary, telling her that she will give birth to Jesus as a virgin. Later, when Jesus resurrected, we see that 2 angels were sitting in the tomb who told Mary Magdalene that Jesus resurrected. Notice that in both these passages that the angels did not appear as winged creatures like the one described in Ezekiel. Can you imagine if you saw a 4-faced creature talking with you? You would probably run away, right? Instead, we see that these messenger angels appeared as human beings without any mention of wings. In fact, the earliest known Christian image of an angel from the mid-3rd century was depicted without wings because of the messenger angels who appeared as human beings throughout the Bible. The third type of angels are called Seraphim. The word Seraphim comes from the Hebrew word seraph, which means to burn. So Seraphim are angels who burn with passion for God, which is why they are usually depicted as surrounding the throne of God. We see a picture of seraphim in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah says that God's throne is surrounded by them singing, "Holy, holy, holy." The seraphim are described as having 6 wings, 2 of which are for flying, while the rest is used to cover their heads and their feet. So seraphim display their burning passion for God by continually worshiping God around his throne. Now, some people believe that there's a 4th type of angels called Ophanim. The word Ophanim is a Hebrew word for wheels, referring to the angels described by Ezekiel. As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. Their rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around. According to Ezekiel, the throne of God is set on wheels, or Ophanim, and then pushed by 4 angels. There are wheels inside of wheels at cross angles, with the effect that the throne can move in any direction without having to turn. The angels who are moving the throne have 4 faces, one facing each direction so they can likewise travel in any direction without having to turn their necks. We already know that the angels with 4 faces are cherubim, but what about these wheels? Are they another class of angels? Personally, I do not think Ezekiel is describing another class of angels. Ezekiel's description should not be understood as a literal picture of God's throne. Instead, the vision is a picture portraying God as sovereign and omnipresent, meaning that he is present everywhere. The fact that the wheels and the angels are full of eyes emphasizes that God sees and knows everything. So the wheels, or Ophanim, should not be understood as another class of angels or as literal wheels, but wheels that Ezekiel saw in the vision that emphasizes the all-encompassing sovereignty and power of God. In other words, God reigns in every direction and in every location and can see in every way. Now, there are certain angels who are called archangels. Archangel comes from a Greek word meaning chief angel. This suggests that there is some form of hierarchy within angels, with the archangel being the leaders of other angels. Jude 1:9 refers to Michael, who is an archangel, implying that he might be the chief angel amongst all angels. Michael's name appears in the book of Daniel as a great prince who protects the Jewish people. One of the functions of an archangel is to engage in spiritual warfare against Satan and his demons. Finally, I want to address the second question. Do demons look like angels? Most people tend to think of demons as fiery, cartoonish creatures with horns, but the Bible describes them differently. Satan, who is the chief demon, is described as one who disguises himself as an angel of light. So demons probably take after their master in this regard. It is likely that demons present themselves as angels to deceive people, as will be the case when Satan deceives the nations in the end. However, keep in mind that demons are spiritual beings who can take on any physical form. So we don't know exactly how a demon looks like, but we do know that they will do anything to deceive people, even making themselves as angels. You might be thinking, why does it matter that we know what angels look like? It matters because how an angel appears may tell us what type of angel we are talking about. Messenger angels do not have wings but look like humans, while cherub and seraphim may have 2, 4, or 6 wings. Satan and demons may disguise themselves as angels, and archangels, like Michael, are described with military language. Although we cannot know for certain about how angels and demons look, knowing the different types of angels can help in understanding why they look so differently throughout the Bible. Luis and Jacob, I hope this video is helpful regarding your questions about angels and demons. If you missed a previous Q&A video about whether Unitarianism is heretical, I'll leave a link here for you to watch. Finally, if you want your questions answered with the video, leave a comment below and I will do my best to get to it. Until next time, see you!